The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. White Pine County Tourism Recreation Board meeting, October 27th, 2020.
It is. Oh, we got another little minute.
Yeah, it's 9:04.
It is 3:59, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
This is the White Pine County Tourism and Recreation Board regular meeting. It is October 27th, 2020, Tuesday, 4 o'clock, Bristlecone Convention Center. I'd like to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Ian, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Oh, I got an oxygen. Marietta, it was on my end. We were on mute. Can you hear us, Arrow?
Yes.
Okay.
can. Okay.
We're good. We said the pledge, okay? So we're good. We're going to go ahead now with public comment. And I'm Mr. Cameron. Any public comment?
I'm happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Thank you. Maureen, any public comment?
Not this time.
George, any public comment?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, I've not received any information on the following items. The new parking lot for the convention center is appears to be close to completion. If not completion, the center walkway has not been put back in. It does not meet minimum ADA standards for the handicap. They're being forced out in the street, which is, could be hazardous, especially for those in a wheelchair. This new construction is mandated to meet minimum federal ADA requirements. I've told you folks more than once before. One of the lights involved in the renovation on the corner of 7th Alliance is installed on private property. That cannot be done. It needs to be corrected. You're required to stay on city easement only. Pedestrian stripes were painted on one corner of the lot, but not on the other. Let's show a little more class. A little more paint will not hurt anybody. This is a public facility. I want to know who designed the fiasco, who approved it, who inspected it. I want to see if they come up with any of these fallacies. Madam Chairman, the money that was given to the community choir for pigeon control needs to come back to this board. The NRS forbids you from assisting a private business. They were not a 501c at the time they applied. They misled you. Failure to properly disclose or apply under false pretenses is a violation of the law. They do not meet minimum ADA standards for the handicap to enter that facility. That building is not the public building. A sign posted on the front of the building stated no soliciting, no loitering, no skateboarding, and lastly, private property. I've been told that they rent the basement to the Tumblebugs. Again, that building does not meet ADA, and I don't know if it has a second fire exit. Fire violation. Does the community choir have a state business license, a state city business license, state license, or any other license for that matter? I caution this board, giving money to a private group cannot do it, folks. Madam Chairman, the Nevada Northern Railroad is continuing to get additional money from this board in addition to the $240,000 it receives from room tax monies. They're not operating under the Nevada Open Meeting Law, and the citizens, the taxpayers, cannot see how the monies are spent. They need to know. Again, they need to be cut off and be held accountable. I remind you, Mr. Bassett manages the property and his wife is the bookkeeper. There can't be any nepotism. NRS. At a city council meeting held on September 19, 2019, the railroad was seeking to borrow approximately $450,000, and for what, we do not know. They have yet to report what their total debt is. Does any member know? I've asked that before. You should know. The city member, Kurt Carson, should know and has a responsibility to disclose. That hasn't happened. There are recent rumors that I've reported to you that tens of thousands of dollars have been embezzled from the railroad. I want to know if that's true. I've also heard rumors that the railroad has purchased Avenue A. Again, is that true? If they did, where did they get the money? Was it borrowed? And from whom? I wanna know if any Fair and Rec board members are on the Historical Railroad Management Board.
That's 3 minutes, thank you, George. Thank you, Mr. Chesney.
I need some answers, madam.
Any other public comment? Hearing none. We'll go to new business, Roman numeral 2, item number 1, discussion and for possible action, approval of agenda, including removal of agenda items. Are there any corrections, removals to the agenda? Do I hear a motion?
Carolyn, I apologize for the interruption. Can we just say who is present on Zoom at this time?
Sure, we have member Marietta Henry. Kirk Carson is on the phone, I believe.
On Zoom, but via his iPhone.
Okay, he's on Zoom on his iPhone, and I believe that's it.
And then Brian is zooming in, he just texted me, so check the waiting room, he should be coming in any second.
Okay, and I don't know how to check the waiting room.
There it is. It's just this over here, so when he pops in, it'll pop up and ask if you want to admit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Aren't we getting good at this?
Almost a year later.
Apparently I need to get better, so thank you very much. Anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we approve as presented.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, seconded by Marietta. Any discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, item carries. Number 2, discussion and for possible action, approval of a minute, September 22nd, 2020. Any additions, corrections to the minutes?
I didn't see anything out of whack.
Marietta, any corrections?
None.
Kurt, any corrections?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion by Kurt, second.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Item number 3, discussion and for possible action, review of the financial report. All right, I'm going to turn this around for Kyle.
All right, everyone. We'll go over, the first document will be the room tax collected. So that's this graph right here. And there is a couple things that I do want to point out this month that we don't normally go through when we go over this. So the total motel hotel collection for room tax was $189,320.25. And the total room tax collected for RV parks and campgrounds was $17,824.21. So we collected a total of $207,144.46. So how that broke down in distribution was Tor and Rec kept $131,242.86 for our budget. The railroad received $30,688.07. The city of Ely received $32,862.89, and the county for the golf course received $6,596.63. What's new this year is, or new this month is we've had 2 Airbnb properties that are now remitting room tax, so I went ahead and labeled those off to the side so you could see which properties we were talking about. And so you can see those 2 of those right there labeled Bill and Carla's Townhouse and the OL NTUP. The reason OL NTUP was so big is because they submitted, we had been working through the process for a couple months, so they submitted multiple months worth of paperwork at one time. So there is, and for a lot of these Airbnb owners, it is just a matter of working through the process so that everybody understands how the forms work and everything. So appreciate that cooperation with that. The only other thing to point out, there's 2 reports for Motel 6. The second one was just late remittance, and so that was in addition to the room tax that was collected and remitted. So that kind of explains where all of the revenue for this month
in regards to room tax came from. Is there any questions on this document here? Okay. The second one that we'll go over will be the comparison, the actual, compared to this time last year. And as you guys can see, this month we were actually 8.4% above where we were this time last year in regards to room tax. So kind of just following that same trend of just either, you know, being exactly on par where we were supposed to be, or slightly ahead. So I don't know how much longer construction is planning on staying in a town, but that certainly is what's kind of keeping us afloat right now.
Excuse me just a minute, would you like to come in?
Yeah, you're welcome.
We'll get another chair too.
Maybe still one of these chairs?
Yeah, no, just take any of them. How are you, Tim?
Good.
And is Donna here too? Come and get the chairs and let's pause until you can come in. And
Come on in.
the agenda items are up here and then Judy will ask you to sign in before you leave. Welcome, you two.
Brian's on right now, so he's now here. Welcome, Brian. We just started the financial reports, and so do you have those documents in front of you?
I do.
Okay, cool. I'll kind of to recap back through this one right here. You can kind of see what the hotel, motel, and the RV park and campground was. The big addition for this month is the 2 Airbnbs that have started remitting room tax, and the OL NTUP, that was actually a couple months worth of remittance right there at one time. So we've been working with some of the Airbnbs just to kind of understand the process since the policy had changed with the city. What that equates to, Brian, the $207,144.46 that we collected is about 8.4% higher than where we were this time last year for the month of September. So the trend is still showing really good for room tax in spite of it all. And of course, that's the construction workers that are kind of keeping us going. The other one that we'll go over is this one right here, and that is the breakdown of each property and the room tax that they've remitted over the calendar year.
Can you just slow down?
Yep. And there's not really anything that we'll go over with this one. This is just a new form that we are collecting data on, so you can kind of see how the properties do over the course of the year. The final one will be the year-to-date budget. And, you know, even in spite of a lot of the community marketing that we've been doing, some of the recent design work, the budget item, community marketing, which really I had the most fear of being inflated early, is only at 45% of what we had budgeted for. So other than that, you know, the only other standouts are the 2 annual things that we pay, you know, the insurance and taxes and dues and subscription. Those have stayed the same since the start of the fiscal. And other than that, the only other thing that is getting pretty close or is kind of above where we're at calendar year that we budgeted for would be building maintenance. And so we're at 92% for that, but that of course was a lot of the sanitation stuff and items that we had to buy early in the year to go ahead and comply with all of the COVID safety stuff. So
Also, that's a very low amount. 3,000 is very low for.
it is a very low amount. So with that said, you know, the budget, year-to-date budget's looking really good. We're at 45% for the city room tax collected for what we budgeted for. We're actually at 62% for what we budgeted for the county, which is all well and good, but we're only at 1% for what we budgeted for center events. But I'll go over that in my director's report and talk about some of the events that are coming up and how the 2021 calendar is filling. Does anybody have any questions about the year-to-date budget? Okay. Any questions about the financial report in general? All right, well then I will turn it back to Caroline. Yes, Marietta?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
On the room tax report, who is OL? Who is that?
it's a local who has multiple properties that are up for Airbnb, and so their company is, or their corporation is OL NTUP. I'm not sure the significance of the name, but it is we've been dealing with two folks. There's the one gentleman who's been coming into the office and kind of dealing with stuff, personally to kind of get the understanding. I believe he's kind of more the feet on the ground in Ely. And then there's another person that I've been dealing with that seems to be more the financial expert, and making sure that she understands the financial process of it all. So yeah, a new team. I'm not sure, Ian, is this the company that when we were talking about Airbnb policies, was it these guys?
No, not the,
Okay,
the ones I knew of only had one.
okay, but yeah, it covers two properties that are up for Airbnb. That they have. So sorry, I'll dig up more information for you if you wanna get,
I mean, if you really wanna know, probably a quick entity search on state of Nevada, you'd turn up who's involved.
yeah.
Right.
Yay, internet.
But yeah, let me know, what you would like, Marietta, and I can go ahead and get that for you.
I'll say, okay, thanks.
I don't believe we have to approve the financials, they're just presented, aren't they?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that, and it's nice to see the addition of the revenues from Airbnb. It's gonna be helpful for us. Hi, Brian. Okay, we're gonna move on to number 4, discussion and for possible actions to ratify the bills. And before we get started, I'd like to remove item number 10074, check number 10074. So whoever makes the motion, please remove that. And I just realized we're gonna have to do a quick calculation.
I'm calculating right
Okay,
now.
you'll have to do that, so you can help out. That was just a misprint, we've got to reissue the check, so nothing wrong, just a different name on it, and that matches the backup.
All right, Caroline, there should be total.
Okay. 132, 453, 70, thank goodness for cell phones. Okay,
What did we do before
are
this?
there any questions on the bills? I've gone over them and gone over them with Kyle today, so if you have any questions at all, any board members? Okay. So the motion will need to be with the removal of 10074, and the new total would be 132, 453 and 70 cents. So entertain a motion from somebody for ratifying the bills.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we pay checks 10043 through 10080 minus check 10074 in the amount of $531 for a total of $132,453.70.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay. So we've had the motion and approval for the total of $132,453.70. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. On item number 5, I should have noticed this, there is no Bethlehem bill this month.
Correct.
So, I'm sorry, I should have noticed that. Let's go on to item number 6, discussion and for possible action, update on Sculpture Park progress.
Okay. So the update on that is we took a lot of the suggestions from the meeting that we had taken with Wayne and April and Andy and the board, and worked with Ralph Jones Displays, got some new decorations for Sculpture Park, and in the process there were 2 casino properties that were not going to be doing their Christmas displays this year, and actually didn't want to store them, so they kicked down, they donated like a 26-foot U-Haul trailer truck worth of Christmas decorations to White Pine County Tourism to use as we see fit. So Don and I drove down to Las Vegas, picked up the truck, drove it back. Wayne and I unloaded it and realized that, man, we've got a lot of decorations. So I think the update with Sculpture Park is we're gonna get started a little bit earlier this year. We don't have use of the Honor Camp. Kurt, you know, we had talked about, you know, trying to just rally the troops and see what we can do from a community standpoint to set up Sculpture Park. And we'll have to get started a little early because we're really gonna be kind of doing inventory at the same time to see what we actually have. But the theme is larger than life, and we are definitely gonna be having an additional display other than the Christmas tree that will encourage people to come into the downtown, take their family photos, and kind of interact with the park as opposed to, you know, after the big lighting, just drive by. We want a reason for people to stay in the downtown. So that is the update with Sculpture Park, and yeah, we'll find out dates specifically of when we're gonna start putting things up out there.
So who do you anticipate on helping, because you're going to need bucket trucks and,
Well, Kurt, I don't, you know, I don't want to put words into your mouth, you know, but Kurt had mentioned, you know, having a bucket truck accessible. There was a few other people that I talked to that said that they were just willing to lend a hand. But I think a lot of it, like anytime you buy new decorations, new anything, there's gonna be a lot of like fuddling around at first, trying to figure out where they go best. But yeah, I think a bucket truck is gonna be necessary, so, you know, I wanna thank Kurt for volunteering to try to find one of those for us.
that's great. So,
Not a problem, glad to help.
you're talking about, not local casinos, but casinos in Las Vegas, is
These
that?
were casinos in Las Vegas, so it was, I don't know if it was not Boomtown, maybe it was Boomtown, something along those, it was recognizable when they said which two casinos, had just given these to us. So,
Wow,
we would certainly write a thank you letter,
yes,
and send them pictures with the stuff up so that they know what their donation went to.
and then with some print collateral.
And
Well-
two train tickets.
Yes, exactly, a partridge and a pear tree, yeah,
Right.
that's very generous of them. Okay, thank you. Any questions on the update on the sculpture park? And so how soon do you anticipate getting started?
Wayne, what do you think, man?
Now, we originally had requested the honor camp starting on the 17th of November.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I would say 17th of November works
I
for
think
me.
it's-
I'll be back in town, so,
We need to get this, especially this decorated prior to the festival of trees too. so-
yeah, exactly, because the Christmas tree lighting is on the 4th? The 5th?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll have everything up, at least a week before the 5th, you know, just to make sure it all works and everything.
That's a tight timeframe, but,
We get stuff done around here, we have to.
Okay. all right, any other discussion? Seeing none, number 7, discussion and for possible action, update on facilities guide, I just left it there.
Okay, so yeah, facilities guide update is, we've got no further than the last update, which was we got all the information that we needed, and it was time to go around and start taking pictures, to try to start working on the design aspect of it. You know, I mean, pretty much this project is as far along as it is because there's been all kinds of other stuff that's jumped up in front, and I think when the grants get awarded, our designer will probably have a couple immediate things that she'll have to deal with, but, you know, we have what we need, except for the time and the focus to be able to go ahead and just lay it out and put it out.
Okay, and of course, if we can see a draft for everyone beforehand.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So we had, and I believe what you're referring to are the Travel Nevada grants, which will be announced on November 4th.
Correct.
And so we are right now at the 26th, are we?
Mhm.
Any, you know, if we could make a week of progress on the facilities guide, that'd be great.
Okay.
That would be awesome to get that rolling.
Cool.
Okay, discussion and for possible action, the reallocation of funds originally approved for the Beatles concert, and I would assume, Mr. Cameron, that you will want to address that, so can you come up here, so,
Yeah, whether we got the funding for decorations for the Christmas tree, and we got $600 for the Beatles concert. And since we weren't able to host that this year, we would like to have that funding put into that Christmas tree lighting fund,
and so what would you do with the Christmas tree lighting fund?
just buy more stuff.
Okay, so that would follow the strategic plan?
Yep.
Okay, so we just allocate money into a project we've started already?
Correct.
And how much was that for the Beatles? Was it 600?
$600.
Okay. Any discussion items? I, of course, tears in my root beer that we didn't get the Beatles concert.
Well, we're guaranteed it next year, it's the Saturday after the horse races.
Okay, well, sounds wonderful. So any discussion from board members on the reallocation of that $600? So it's already been earmarked in our budget, and it's a cause that we're already involved in.
Fine.
Okay?
Move to
Marietta?
approve. Oh, sorry.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Ian. Is there a second?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we reallocate the funding originally funded for the Beatles concert, which is $600 for the Christmas decorations.
I'll second that.
And Ian is the second, so we're good on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Wayne, for thinking of a creative way to reallocate that money. Number 9, discussion and for possible action, approval of the modified contract with Lone Seeker LLC with payments of $7,500 to be made on 10/9/20 and 11/9/20 for a total of $15,000. And this has an agenda attachment, so we'll let, Kyle's going to address this, but everyone, if you could get your agenda attachment out.
Alright, so that's that one right there. So what this is truly a kind of a phoenix rising from the ashes scenario. As you know, we were working with Bike Magazine to have this amazing bike test project out here that involved months of distribution under the top mountain biking magazine around the world. And after weeks of getting bicycles and equipment shipped out here, having them put together, having their best photographers, videographers, writers, everybody's in town, the parent company for Bike Magazine decided that they were just going to shut down the entire operations. Not just Bike Magazine, but Powder Magazine, Surfer Magazine, all of these iconic print publications. Just as of Friday at 3 o'clock, we're just no longer. And so we had 30 bicycles and really the best content creators around mountain biking in the world sitting in Ely and had just recently lost their jobs. Some of them working for a company for more than 15 years, and they're literally stranded, in the most remote mountain town wondering what they're gonna do with themselves. So, pretty much being solution-based, we still wanted to go ahead and salvage something, and giving them the weekend to talk to the bike manufacturers and see what they wanted to do to call their relationships in the bike industry and just kind of come up with a plan B. What we're talking about is that plan B, what we're gonna hopefully approve today. So if you remember, Bike Magazine included a print and a digital. It was to the tune of $60,000. It was a hard bite to take, but we made it happen because it was gonna be important. And then if we were just doing the digital and the content creation version, it was a $30,000 buy-in, and it just didn't seem to have the punch for it. So this plan B essentially is that $30,000 plan, but because it doesn't have the Bike Magazine brand behind it, it's been reduced to $15,000. So if you go through it, there's still gonna be a professional destination video that's created. I like the way and the direction that it was going. I was involved in it the entire time, and it's going to show the legacy of mountain biking in Ely, more than just us being a place you can ride your bikes. Really, how it's a place that's really kind of at the cornerstone of mountain biking history, and I look forward to it coming out because I think it's going to blow some people's minds in here too. Really, how far back mountain biking goes in this community. So there'll be the destination video. We still get 3 to 4 minutes of raw, unedited footage, and so this would be out on the trails and stuff like that we could use for new YouTube videos, promotional videos, website. It's in the raw. We can do whatever we want to with it. We're going to get 40 high-resolution images that we can use free and clear, for any marketing purposes that we want. And then on top of that, they still did the bike reviews for the so the manufacturers still wanted to have their each individual bike review video and roundtable. So all of those were still created, and all of those will still be shared on the bike manufacturer's social media as well. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Ride Ely Nevada hashtag will be used, the location will be used, so we'll still actually get that destination promotion. It just won't come from a magazine that was apparently on